Hi guys, this is me back in the studio at Watercolour, and I'm just, we'll have a quick look around first, hold on. Yeah, it's very hard, there you are, see. That's the, I'll just try and get my stupid great head out the way of it. That's the studio at the back there. That's typically when we're working with musicians, that's where they'll be. This is me in the control room side of things. There we are, look. Let's try not to focus on me. It's all me. Once I've been out in the field and recorded all the different audio segments, I bring them back here, shuffle them into place. Cataloguing and being analytical is a big part of field recordings, because obviously you end up with a lot of stuff and you need to know where you got it from and at what time, and then that gives you a clue as to how you might use it in the final piece. So I'm just going to quickly go through what I'm working on at the moment. It started with research. I'm looking into lock ascent. I'll show you what I've got online. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Good. Okay. So this gives you an idea what I got excited me. I was looking into the life of Lawrence Puller. He's a 19th century philosopher and geographer. And he funded a project to map a lot of Scottish freshwater lochs, and to our great surprise and interest, he did Loch Assynt. They are, give you an idea. I'll try and, oh dear, come on mate. There we go, Grandad. Okay, so that's the bathymetric map. Beautifully, all this was obviously hand drawn. They mapped it, and they did these bathymetric surveys of the cross section in the loch, and you can see they did it in two places. Cross here, they took a wee boat just not far from the castle, and then they did it at the top of the loch here as well, you see, and this gave them these two different scales. Now what I did, apart from marvel the fact that we can use the work of a 19th century hydrologist and use it in a 21st century project, was pretty exciting. What I did was to look at those scales and inverted them so they turned into a musical scale. And you can, it's quite straightforward, you know, you can give yourself a tempo going across the loch and map it into bar lengths, into a sort of fixed length until you span the loch, and that gives you a note sequence and a tempo, and you can adjust it up and down to suit the piece. I'll play you that now, and this is what informed the first of the sound. So here is that scale inverted. Really interesting. Obviously you can get a tune out of it, but also it's an interesting way of making music that's organic rather than a musician coming up with a scale. And I've used that to create a bed of music. When we were in Assynt just a couple of weeks ago now, I went out took a wee boat out into Loch Assynt, and the two exactly the same places. And I put hydrophones, which are specialist microphones, which are used to record sounds underwater. So I built a little rig. If you go on the website, there's a little video shows me doing it. And 4 microphones dangle down into the water. And I put the boat in exactly the same spot in the loch and recorded the sound of the loch underwater at the very point that these bathymetric measurements were taken. So it means that I had a bedrock of a musical scale and the sound of the loch at those points. Now, actually, the sound of the loch underwater is surprisingly dead. If you do a marine recording, it's full of noise, scratches and huffles and puffles, and the pistol shrimps. And again, there's a couple of examples of that on the website. But in a freshwater loch, it's very much more of a dead sound, even though there's obviously creatures in there. There's an awful lot less background noise, though it is still an interesting recording nonetheless. And so what I'm going to do is to insert that sound and tune it to exaggerate certain frequencies, so it has a tune to it, and it will link in with the sound of the note scale which I've just played, and that will form the basis of a piece of music. I've given a bit of it to Finlay, and he has improvised and come up with some melodic structures over the top of that, and between the two of us we'll end up with a bed of music which could be quite exciting. I mean, it interests me, A, because it's an interesting way of making music as opposed to a traditional way of using an instrument and writing that way, but also means that we come up with something that's been generated by the environment itself, and that's quite exciting because you get something very original, but also it links in with this beautiful idea of the connection between science and the arts, which you could argue in 19th century Britain they were much closer together than they are currently. And so we have a combination of science informing the musical structure, and then you can then comment with that music upon the science, because Loch Assynt has this brilliant mermaid legend. This piece is called Eibhir, after the daughter of the laird, and the legend is that the laird was having a terrible time building the castle, and so he made a pact with the devil that he'd give him his daughter in marriage if he helped him finish the castle, apparently unbeknownst to the daughter. So this went ahead, but on completion of the castle the devil turns up to ask for the daughter, and she finds out and throws herself off the top of the castle into the loch. Now, some legends have it that she died, others that she went into the water and turned into a mermaid. But either way, the devil got extremely annoyed and started throwing rocks and lava about, and that's what gives that part of Assynt its strange geological interest. So that nice combination between folklore and the real science of the place links the way we're looking at music and the science, and hopefully we'll end up with a better music which might have some poetry over it. It might have a lyric and a song, but essentially it has all those elements within the music, a lot going on, and it's a fun way of doing work. And I'll get back to you as soon as it's finished. Okay, see you guys.